my name is Katie Weatherup and I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I have a special healing for those who support me on Patreon. And so these are people who pledge anywhere from $1 to more money for different rewards, and collectively these are people that I'm holding space for in an ongoing way. And one of the things that I enjoy getting to do is offer healing and support for whatever's relevant. So I took a poll of what people would like to receive and came up with this offering that I think will support people that has to do with tending the emotional matrix. So one of my big soapboxes is the fact that humans are not trained to deal with emotion well. So we have a lot of fear and suspicion, a lot of numbing strategies, a lot of addictive behaviors that are all about avoiding emotionality. And then when it finally catches up with us, there's this huge backlog. So somebody who's numbed out a bunch of their anger, when they have that little tiny aggravation that flips them over, all of a sudden they're in a rage place, and it's very intense and very disruptive to relationships. So all the feedback they get is like, you have an anger problem. I would say they have an anger numbing problem that gets the intensity of the anger over the threshold of where they have any kind of grace or skill in dealing with it. And it's not fun to be at ground zero inside yourself having that experience, and it's super not fun to be around someone who's in that space. So what this work is doing is an energetic intervention. So there are plenty of psychological tools that are really great for working with emotions, but this works with the energetic backlog that builds up when we learn to block this emotional energy from moving. So in a society that doesn't tolerate emotion very well, we got really early messages as children to shut it down. You know, if you were going to get made fun of on the playground for crying, or you had parents who didn't have better emotional tools, so they were shutting it down, it could often be more expensive to be in an authentic emotional expression than it was to block it and hold it. And the trouble with people is it's never very fun to go catch up with the emotions that we didn't deal with. So in the times where it really is safe, in the times where we have privacy and the ability to really be with whatever wants to move through, most people don't have a practice of doing that because there's, you know, the stress level drops, so the intensity drops. So now is an opportunity to, you know, watch a movie or do something fun for yourself, which is totally valid, but we don't end up cleaning up this backlog. And the result is when we get a trigger that resonates with an old pain, we often have these really big disproportional reactions because the system is trying to process out the pain of the moment plus the pain of everything that went before. So emotions can really be a hot mess in people unless you've done a fair bit of work with them. And I'd like to help from an energetic perspective of just clearing the energetic backlog and helping to just give this piece of your energetic anatomy, this emotional matrix, some soothing energy, some like, all is well, it's okay. If there's inflammation of too much energy trying to move across in one sitting, that becomes very painful. That's when you have that experience of just feeling really raw. And so soothing energy, as well as help in clearing out energy that's gotten stuck, because the emotional matrix really wants to be available. The language that usually gets used is emotions moving through like weather. They just come and go, and they flow in and out. And when they're contemporary, they're not such a big deal. There's a modest nature to what, if we're living a fairly healthy, aligned life, happens in terms of emotional activation. The really big, intense, gnarly emotions tend to be reflected with a little bit in the present moment, but a whole heck of a lot in the past history, unless you're dealing with a big life event. So death in the family, death of a pet, like those will make for really big emotions. But the anger about having your voice silenced or not being heard, if you have a really big reaction to that, there's probably the present that doesn't work for you, but there's probably a lot of history of all the times that you've experienced that didn't work for you. So this is an energetic intervention to just help clean some of that out and give you more space and more flexibility in your emotional matrix so it can be more relaxed and up to date. So I'll hope you join me. If you're already a patron, there's nothing you have to do. You'll just automatically be included unless you don't want to be included, in which case you should let me know. And if you do want to be included and you're not a patron, just sign up through Patreon. Like I said, it can be as little as $1 a month, and then I have some rewards, and people who choose to contribute more heavily are much appreciated. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm excited to provide this healing.